And I'll reflect back on the time when I was on the board, right? And that the first and second really didn't want to do it, but I was just a trustee and I said, well, you know what, I'll look at the minutes. So that's how I became so involved in looking at the minutes, because it's
But
something.
isn't that a perfect point of why it should just be flipped to the board?
But I think it brings too many people coming back. I think you should say board president or designate. Because the board president, whoever does it, the board president may not want to do it, but if the board president designates out to someone else. So I'm fine with board president or designate.
I mean, I would like it to go to the whole board. So do you guys have any feelings on this? I know it's really like a board.
Yeah. I would say let's bring it up to the board as.
Okay,
board
so
president
let's put board
Or,
president or designate, and then we'll bring it up to the board. Is that good?
Mhm.
Okay.
right, so let's go back to the second paragraph.
Oh, so this is what I was proposing. Take out the whole second paragraph, because a lot of it doesn't make sense. And just say draft minutes shall be posted within 2 weeks of the meeting. And should we write, should be water stamped with draft? We need to say that. Because it should say draft on it, so people know it could be, it might be changed. Depending on corrections or anything. What do you guys think?
Draft meetings shall be marked, Brad?
Shall be marked and posted, draft minutes shall be,
I'm gonna say in 2 weeks of all meetings.
yeah, that's good, within 2 weeks of all meetings, that's good. So draft minutes shall be posted within 2 weeks of all
All
meetings. And what is stamped as draft, is that what we should say,
That's
watermark,
good,
watermarked as draft? Okay, so I'm gonna take out the second paragraph, we'll put that in. Oh, and then I had one other thing, because I'm noticing that the resolutions, any walk-on resolutions, whether it's a hire or anything, the resolutions are not going to the agenda the way they're supposed to. So the agenda has to correspond to the minutes, because if you're reading the minutes and it's not on the agenda, so that's supposed to be happening, I know it's not happening.
But it says here, all motions, proposals, or resolutions, and any other matters formally voted on.
No, well, this is what I wanted to add, Lisa. The minutes shall correctly correspond with the related agendas. Just to protect the district, that it should be, the agendas have to match the minutes, which John said it has to match, like they should be uploaded. So I just wanted to add that one sentence in. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I want to say something
Mhm.
else about recordings, but I get what you're saying.
That's all I had, that's all my recommendation.
All right, so what you're recommending is that all,
Like after that first sentence of the fourth paragraph, it says the minutes shall correctly correspond with the related agenda. I think that's fair, because it should be happening. So that's the second sentence of the fourth paragraph.
I think that we should put up here that the audio of the meeting shall be posted within
Yes,
24 hours, 48
Perfect.
hours after the meeting.
yes,
Because I think, it's not minutes, but I think that's something that does need to be looked at, not now, but whether or not NISBA has anything connected to the audio of the meeting. And if that's, if,
24 hours.
no, we do post it.
yeah, no, what
We're
I'm,
doing pretty good on it.
yeah, no, what I'm saying is that, I'm wondering if NISBA has a policy, and let me go back on track, if they have a policy that states that if you post the audio within 24 hours, does that constitute as the minutes?
Well, I do think that they say that you can do that, but I think for transparency's sake, we should still do the 2 week.
No, I agree, but I'm wondering if there's language that we can look at that says that the posting of the audio within 24 hours does constitute the posting of minutes. But the written portion of the minutes will be up within 2 weeks.
Let's add it.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's add it, let's make that the first sentence of the second paragraph.
Okay,
So,
the posting of the,
video recording of meeting, right? Video recording of meeting will be published on the website, will be, oh, no, I don't have to say the website, what else would it be? Published within 24 hours And I think that could be the end of the sentence, right? And then draft minutes shall be posted within 2 weeks. Did you wanna add on to that sentence?
I wanna add on that the posting of the video recording, and we need to find out legally, does constitute posting of minutes. But we need to, I wanna look into that aspect of it. I'm not saying to replace this, I'm saying, so that way someone knows that, okay, that.
Or how about, can we do something
Because
like
we should
this?
say the draft written minutes shall be posted within.
Draft, okay, so let me do that. Draft written minutes.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Draft written minutes. And then we could say video recording of meeting will be within 24 hours. Should we write something that's like,
And does constitute minutes for the meeting? Or-
well, I don't want it to be like,
And it will serve as.
Preliminary posting.
Yeah,
oh, I like that, preliminary before the written minutes. How do you wanna say that?
And may serve as.
it may serve as.
And may serve as, that's good, as preliminary
Meeting minutes.
meeting minutes until
Into the draft. written-
draft written minutes are published. That's good. You guys good with that? Should we do it again? Should I?
Yeah, let's just make sure we all have the same things.
Okay, so first paragraph's fine. Second paragraph is video recording of the meeting will be published within 24 hours and may serve as a preliminary meeting minutes until draft written minutes are posted within, or should, is that like two?
Published, I would say
Published,
published.
okay, published, and then the second sentence. Draft written minutes shall be posted within 2 weeks of all meetings and watermarked as draft. Good,
Yes,
okay,
Yes.
the fourth paragraph. Second sentence, the minutes shall correctly correspond with the related agenda.
all right, so we have to go back one.
That's just the second one,
So that this is,
Second sentence.
the second sentence of the fourth paragraph. We're just inserting it.
or we have to go back to the district clerk will be responsible for taking the minutes and shall present the draft minutes to the board president or designate.
Yeah, oh, yes, I have that,
Okay.
yes, sorry, I do have that. Good?
All right, we're all good with the minutes?
Mhm.
So,
Ooh,
yeah,
one
good.
down, okay.
all right. I do want to tackle use of facilities right quick. I think we might be able to get through that.
You need me to kind of explain why there's two?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So the first one that's in yellow, all yellow, encompasses the notes that the policy committee originally spoke of on said date.
Okay,
And then there were some things we had to go back and follow up on. And as a result, you have the second one that has less yellow. K is yellow, all right,
So the second one is the implementation of our notes, is that what it is?
yes,
Okay, because there's some things on here.
on D, letter D.
Correct, I have the same exact thing.
so if you look on D, it says explanation required on the form, FORM, not phone.
Mine still says phone.
Mine says
Phone.
Yeah, so it has to be corrected on the form.
Form.
Cause I said, oh, it has to be in writing, can't be on the phone.
Okay, so,
And then H.
Yes,
It says double check last line with legal,
Mhm.
that should be struck
yeah,
out.
that should be
That
out.
was just,
It was just our internal.
yeah,
Okay,
and then, let's see now, K was added.
yes,
Licensed school-based health, dental, or mental health clinics as defined in education law, operated by an entity other than the school district. I believe in consultation with the insurance company that was added.
okay,
okay, so that's page 1, page 2.
Yes, so now, page 2, if we flip under prohibited uses,
Mhm.
A. Meetings sponsored by political organizations, comma, except as otherwise provided by law.
Did John provide that or no? Cause I think we didn't have that before.
No.
We didn't have that before, I think that was legal.
We can,
I'll confirm. It was either legal or the insurance company who both looked at this,
What
I'm
does
just
it
not
mean-
sure.
What means except otherwise provided by law?
yeah, like if we're saying no, it's no.
Meetings, maybe there's some that you can't, deny.
I don't
I'm not
think- I don't
sure.
think, I think you're allowed to say no to political organizations.
I would think so.
Yes,
But
I would personally like that struck.
because I'm thinking about, then
Do you recall-
who's to decide which political
Exactly.
organization that you like,
Right.
that's the key.
so let me just say pending, because it was either legal or the insurance company. One of them added it.
Okay, I would want it.
We'll double check.
Because
Okay.
I'm not being funny, what happens if it's a hate group? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's a political
It says
organization, so.
except as
Exactly.
otherwise provided by law.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it should be all of them,
So-
because you're right, what if it's some,
because they may somebody say, well, you know what, you're affecting my constitution right.
right,
You know, why you're allowing this organization versus that organization, so,
Okay, I'm making a note.
okay.
yeah, we would rather that not. Okay, the third page is
Okay.
the insurance.
And then, B, we added where admission fees are charged.
Oh, wait, where is this? Oh,
On the
no.
prohibited uses.
We're still under prohibited uses, letter B. The board had added where admission fees are charged, the committee rather, and so we just inserted it over here. And then under conditions of use, we're on page 2,
Mhm.
and you gotta flip to get to E.
Oh,
So on the old one, this is the insurance that was required,
Yeah,
and NYSER has inserted these new coverage fees.
but I think it's good to list that, so people know.
No. So they're a little more than what they were normally. Okay, and then
wow.
F,
I just have a question with this, Dr. Salver.
yes,
You know, I would like these to get on the agenda, so I don't know if this could just be a phone call or not. But and this is the question for NYSER,
uh-huh,
they want the district to be named as an additional insured. To get named as an additional insured, the policy has to be endorsed by the insurance company. And I can tell you, some companies can do it quickly,
Yeah.
some can take 3 weeks, so do we want them
Oh.
named as an additional insured or list, or just for the district? As, you know, the district will be an additional insured, like named is a little bit different.
well, you know what? We haven't had anyone who had a hard time getting it named unless it was at a higher rate that they,
Oh,
Not
then
pay.
they've been getting it, no
yeah, they've
problem?
been getting it like
Oh,
in
okay.
24, 48 hours, really quickly.
Oh, okay, no problem.
And so if you look at this attached page from
Yeah.
NYSER, so we just attached that so you can see what their feedback was
Okay,
on what to include in that. But they've not had any time challenges. with
Okay.
that. And then F, organizations utilizing our field need to have an AED on site. It said here on site are responsible for ensuring that at least one AED is available during all games and practices. If the organization does not own
it should be on.
an AED, it must outline how reasonable access to an AED will be provided. Additionally, each organization must have at least one staff member trained in AED operation and usage and maintain a written AED implementation plan.
So can I ask a question? If one staff member is trained in AED operation, do we require some type of certification or something that we know? Because I could fill out something and say, okay,
Yes.
I'm trained in AED. But is there any?
Is there something to make it like less restrictive, or maybe an affidavit? You know how we do an affidavit on the roster or something? Is there
Whatever
something
it
we
may
can
be.
do? Can we add it to the form?
Yeah, that's why I was just looking for the form to
Maybe the
see.
form to say,
So the form is here.
okay, oh, by the
but-
way, the insurance, I just wanna interject, says naming, if they have to be named
Name.
additional insured, okay, sorry.
So it's not added, because this is the same form.
Is that something we can add?
Well, where does it stand here that the roster that they are swearing to, that all names of the roster?
Where's that?
75%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where's
is that
that?
on here or is that a different form?
The flyer must be attached. I hereby certify that the facility will be used only for the activity
I don't think it says it.
I'm familiar with. I am authorized. I present personally to supervise all activities. I will also ensure the number of persons in attendance will not exceed the legal. See no more.
Maybe we could just add it at the top with general information, you know, roster 75% Amityville School District.
But I would, let's check with, the business with Olivia to see if there's a separate form
She said that though. like,
about the
right?
75%, yeah.
But we should add on here about AED.
Or if there's a separate form that's connected to the roster, on that same roster, on that same form that. has
Oh, it
about-
might be on the same form,
Yeah, I would
okay.
say put it
Sure.
on there.
Okay, so we're saying add to the application.
Right, yes,
Okay, the AED,
AED trained staff, yes or no, you know, and then, I would say, roster is 75% Amityville School District.
yeah, and there's nothing in the policy,
No, it says it right here, I'm looking at it,
where,
on page 4 of 4. We added that, on the very last one.
oh,
Oh, see, it says with sworn affidavit attached, so there must be something, no?
oh, application procedure is listed in that.
okay,
Which number, which letter is
It's
that?
I, the very last one.
I. Must fulfill roster requirements. All rosters must be 75%.
No, I don't, hold on a second. Should it be Amityville residents or Amityville School District residents?
well, what's the difference?
Because some live in East Massapequa,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
so I feel like it should say Amityville School District.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, let's add that.
That's a simple question.
Mhm.
And I won't, I promise, I will not go far on this. So I think about like the Rotary Club. That utilizes the front lawn.
Mhm.
Do they have to pay, do they have to get this insurance as well?
Well, they're outside, I don't know.
But-
Oh, no, I think they do, don't they, Dr. Calvin? Because they still have
Let's see.
facilities use.
Yeah.
They do fill out a
They do.
facilities
I'm just
use.
curious, because if not, if it's raining, then they come inside. and they use the
Athletic
gym.
So they
organized
must
for
have it.
general use. $1 million for general
Yeah,
use,
they must have it.
and that's what it was,
Okay,
so,
And because I've seen there,
Okay.
I think in October they had some.
yeah, it's always in October, yeah.
yeah.
All right, so can we go back over this one to make sure?
Yeah, can I ask a question?
No.
Can these be emailed to me so that,
That's the
oh, sorry,
question.
no, I just wanna know, can these be emailed to me so that I could just try to like update it so Eileen doesn't have to do it, like. But I don't have this with all the changes emailed to me,
Okay,
if that's possible tomorrow.
If maybe what Eileen could do is email you this.
Yeah, like the
And
red, the
work.
one with the red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's go through
Let's
it.
just go back, so on page 1, and Dr. Talbot, you can help me here, letter D,
Form.
actually part on the form,
form, yes,
right? And then letter H,
remove.
remove, double check that gets crossed out.
Do you want, letter F, any indication that the one person required be on site?
Well, I don't know how that's gonna work, because here's the thing. Usually coaches have training on AED. So. Are we requiring somebody that's AED trained, because now is that gonna jam up their coaching, but like literally if something happens to a kid. We want the person trained. But is that also gonna jam up these leagues?
You know what, that's a good question.
But I
Does it
think
have
they-
instructions?
They would need to be,
Does the AED have instructions on it? I think
It
it
They
does.
do.
They do have
But it's-
instructions, but when you don't
Know
use
what
it, you
you're
lose it. So, I mean, there are instructions, it may just take a little bit longer for you to do it, but.
I think they should be on site, they should train one of their coaches that are coming out to the practices regularly. Because what's the point if they have it and no one's able to
So should we say
properly-
at least one adult has to be, well, here's the thing, is somebody in Rotary gonna be trained in AED? They're not.
Well, no, this
No,
would be
it's
just for
what-
youth sports league.
Oh, just for sport, oh, okay,
Mhm.
okay.
I think it's just crucial, I think someone should be on site. Because then unfortunately, we know situations where kids do not survive because,
So how about at least one staff member trained on site? Like, can we add on site?
One staff member trained in AED operation uses and maintain.
No staff member
Should
trained in
be on
AEC
site.
operation
And should be,
shall be on site.
Additionally, each league must have at least one staff member on site
okay,
Okay, that's
who
it.
is trained in.
Staff member on site. Who is? Okay, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
H we struck, thank you, Mary, that was good. H we did, K we did.
page 2. Letter A,
Oh,
possibly remove that. Except as otherwise provided. by law.
Yeah, I'm gonna check to see why it was added. Or who
and
added.
if we could get it so that this could go on the 6-4 for first reading, like, so if we could get that in.
Page 3, what do we end up with in the district to be named?
Oh, no, it said it in their requirements, and
Okay.
then it said.
Letter F, second sentence, if organization does not own.
Yes.
I have a question about this, I'm sorry, do the fields have any? Like, our fields had boxes where equipment was at their field, like say the baseball field, the football field. And we had AEDs in that, and the coaches had a key, do we have that here?
We have boxes.
So we have it on fields, right?
I think they bring them out to the. field.
Yeah, I don't think that there's.
I don't think
board
they
in
do that, I
there.
think they bring them
Oh,
out.
they
Right.
bring them out.
So going to letter F,
Mhm.
all right, if on page 1, we said additionally one staff member who is trained. We need to put that language similar here on page 3 on letter F. Additionally, each organization must have at least one staff member trained.
At least one staff member on site trained.
Right.
On-site trained. Okay.
Right, so additionally.
Now, would you just said F? Now we're going to J, G is fine. And then the only thing we added is on page 4 for the letter I, we said Amityville School District
Yes,
instead of,
Yes.
we're good with that?
bring 2 down.
Ooh, guys, took us a year, but we're flying now.
Wait, are we looking for minutes on 6-4 as well?
Yeah, I think if we could get all of these, I mean, however many we could get through.
So we're gonna go to,
Display flag. So I was just telling Lisa this before you ladies came in the room. I thought this was gonna be like a very easy, like, let's just adopt it. And then I saw the second page. And I think 1, 2, 3, paragraphs 4 and 5 should be removed. So what it says is if a staff member dies, the flag's flown half staff 5 consecutive school days, so it's like business days or student. And then it says, and also be flown half staff the day of the funeral of any former employee well known to this school. I mean, that's like pretty like, who's popular, who's not, I don't love that. And then, half staff when a board member dies, or when a, former board member dies, like the flag is the flag, like it's. Like, I don't think that this should be, I don't think that this is normal language to be in this. I've never seen this happen before. We've had students die, staff die, we never did our flags, half staff or anything, or board members, you acknowledge it usually at a board meeting or something, but. It doesn't come into play with the flag of the United States. So I would like those two to be stricken out.
So I think for me personally, I've seen it where, and it has always been equal, where there's someone who has passed. So taking the first sentence, flown a half staff for 5 consecutive school days if a present employee or student in that building dies. And it was just done out of respect for that. I think what's his name, Mark?
Engler.
Yeah, he was a teacher and they did it for him. So any teacher, and it doesn't happen often where they do it, and same with the student, doesn't happen often.
Can we reduce it to like 1 day? 5 days is like a really long time.
And maybe the flag shall be also be flown at at half-staff the day of the funeral of any former employee. Well, I like, if we wanna just do one. Will be flown at half-staff for 1 or 2 consecutive days, I'm okay with that,
Which was the first sentence?
yeah.
Okay, let's do one, and like this other thing, when a staff
want
member
two.
dies, I mean, everybody's gonna die eventually.
Can we do 1 to 2?
It's a compromise.
We'll do
From
1 to 2,
five.
yeah,
1 to 2.
1 to
2
2
consecutive,
consecutive school
yeah, 1 2.
Okay,
Maybe just say-
then can we take out the one that says former, because literally, we all die at some point. We'll have the flag at half-staff forever. I mean, I'm not trying to be facetious, but it's the truth, right? I think the second paragraph has to go, and also this one that says,
Well, let's go back to the one, so we're gonna go with 2 consecutive days. The flag shall be flown at half-staff the day of the funeral of any former employee well known in the
that has to be.
school.
Those last 2 sentences has to be taken out, it's problematic, it's too arbitrary, it's too who's popular, who's not, that's problematic.
So I look at, Nancy Cologne, who just passed away this year. Who was the school nurse for a
Did
number of
we do
years.
the flag?
I
We
don't know,
did not,
did we do the flag?
we did
Not
not.
to my knowledge.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying, everybody eventually dies. I think that has to be taken out. I give you.
Alright, let's look like this, let's leave that. Cause I'm kind of mixed. But the thing we would have to, the only way it gets flown at half-staff is that when. The family notifies the school.
No,
You know,
Lisa, this
no,
doesn't, everybody
no,
dies.
Let me finish this, I'm just saying that that's the only time it gets done, when the school is notified, so. Let me ponder over that one, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure.
Well, wait a second, we have to go through this, let's do this.
I know, what I'm just saying, I'm not.
You wanna come back to that paragraph?
Yes,
We'll
yes.
come back to that paragraph, let's do the second paragraph.
I still
Maybe what you do is combine. How about this?
all
Combine the
class-
first sentence, like combine this flags of individual flown at half-staff consecutive to 2 consecutive school days. If a present employee or student in the building dies, or a present
board
board
member.
member,
Okay.
just make that as part of the sentence.
Okay.
You know, we'll make that prettier, present board member.
Let's go for 2 days.
Yes.
And I think the other, and I'm okay, all flex. I'll put a half-staff the day of the funeral of former board member. I'm okay with taking that out.
Okay, so let's just get rid of that whole paragraph.
And we'll just put,
What are we striking?
We're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph's coming out, removing board member
up to,
to be listed with present employee, comma, student, or present board member.
for 2 consecutive days, if a present employee or student.
President,
Or-
employee, student, or board member?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it says student in that building, let's get
Yeah.
that straight. This is talking about the individual buildings now,
Do we have a flag at each building?
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, we do.
So
I would
it
say
says-
at that building, yeah.
So then
And-
board member couldn't go in there. Because that's referencing individual buildings.
Well, would the board member be, I would think, is there one at Park Avenue North
Oh,
or no? At the admin building?
yeah,
So why not the admin building? Like you would think the board member would be associated with an admin building, right?
So then we're leaving paragraph 5.
Yeah,
1, 2,
or
3, 4,
1, 2, 3.
5.
No, we're taking out paragraph 5.
so this one is for
We're
paragraph.
condensing it.
For paragraph 5, it says all flags in the district are to be flown at half-staff when the present board member.
That is really like pageantry, that's a lot. We are not the president of the United States, we're a board member.
I would say I'm okay with leaving that in. Hold on,
Have you researched other districts to see?
I
You have
haven't ever,
anything?
I have
You
to
know
be
what, let's-
honest,
I mean,
I've never seen this where, like, the flag.
so
let's
let's look at it and just kind of see.
Maybe we should research.
Let's come back to this one.
Yeah, let's research.
Let's come back to this.
Research.
Wellness policy, Dr. Salvi, you're taking that to the wellness policy.
Yes, June 5th.
She looked at it?
Mhm.
She look- Okay, good.
She's gonna share her feedback at the June 5th meeting with the wellness committee.
Oh, okay, so me and Lisa were saying the cell phone and the
Oh, yeah, cell phone.
artificial intelligence, can we do that at the end, because these are long? And just go through these couple, because there's only one or two things in these.
Okay, so which one are we on next?
You go to 6741.
Okay, the professional services.
Professional.
So. My recommendation is on listed number 4 on this and put publishing and in district approved newspapers. I didn't see that anywhere listed in the policy. That it's being
Under
published.
the second paragraph, 1, 2, 3, and then 4? Is that?
I was thinking, yeah, under the second paragraph, right? Because we do that anyway, so let's just update the policy.
And it's nowhere else in here?
I didn't see it anywhere else. Do we have it, Lisa?
No, I was looking to see if this was different than the one I have in the book.
So I'm saying number 4, added number 4, and then you see the first enumeration, publishing and district approved newspapers.
I'm surprised it's not in there.
I know, I
was
keep
surprised.
looking.
I was surprised too.
I know you said it 3 times where I read it, but published in,
District approved newspapers. And then. I did this under the next paragraph, but I'm not sure if there's a better place. RFPs. And any and all addendums will be sent via hard copy and electronically.
Where are you?
I'm
In
just
reviewing?
I'm just making it up. I'm just saying, like, let's add it, so it's not anywhere. So I'm thinking,
I think.
where should we put that?
Why electronically? Why not just hard copy? Because if you get in a hard copy, I'm just asking a question,
Because it's 2025 and things are sent electronically and you could do a return receipt when they open it
Oh, you're talking about
like-
to the vendor.
to the vendor,
oh,
to the vendor. Oh, maybe we should add that to the vendors, to the vendors.
so. But you're saying, go ahead, explain it again, because
I'm just saying it's not written in here. So what I want to do is make sure that RFPs and any and all addendums will be sent via hard copy and electronically to the vendors. So we just want the language in here to cover ourselves, that it's gonna be sent both ways, and the addendums, like, so, you know, transportation just had the addendum, like, we would have known to automatically send that to them.
so you're saying the RFP that we send out to.
Yes, we.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what?
Electronically.
I took it as the RFPs that we're going to.
No,
That's
that
what,
we send out, so if there's. All RFPs sent out,
I'm not, does it go there though, that's the only thing.
does it go in?
We,
Oh, I don't know where it goes, I'm just. Well, it probably goes in this, because it says the designated district staff will prepare a comprehensive written request for proposals, which will contain critical details of the services sought. The RFP will specify, yeah, I think it would probably go in there, you know, what's in it, and then RFPs sent out, no, how about this, RFPs and any and all addendums. Will be sent via hard copy and electronically to all vendors, is that okay, just to add that sentence? That's after the new first enumeration.
Look at the paragraph after the number 6.
Okay,
The district will periodically, but not less frequently than every 3 years, issue professional service RFPs electronically and via hard copy.
issue RFPs. Oh, I would add it after, issue professional service RFPs.
Mhm. Issue professional service RFPs both electronically and hard copy.
Yeah, can we also put in there electronically and hard copy? And addendums. Can we add the word addendums in there? Service RFPs and
any-
addendums, if applicable.
And addendums if applicable. Now, do we want to maintain the every 3 years?
Yes. Because I think that's best practice, sorry. I think that's.
Because you know, that's what the throw off was, the state is 5. New
Yeah.
York State says 5.
Yeah, I think 3, I think 3 is a good idea. I have one more thing.
well, let's put it up that way to the board.
Okay, we can ask them.
Yeah.
Mhm, that's fine.
Do you want 3 or 5 years?
Well, we'll type it up with 3 and then you can ask them and then we can change it, right? we'll keep it as it is, and then you could ask them the question if it needs to be amended or amended.
Because the board could at any given time reissue an RFP within that time, right? So it says here, but not less, will periodically, but not less frequently than every 3 years.
I mean, I'm good with 3 years.
Yeah, let's bring it out to the board.
Oh, and then I had a sentence
Well, let's
after that.
we'll circle that and we'll leave
Yeah.
it for 3, we'll bring it out. I would do 3 parentheses, 5 parentheses, you know what I mean, let's do both, so therefore,
We'll ask.
Yeah.
Then I had, an extra sentence after that, where it says, shall be maintained for at least 6 years. The board must approve all RFPs by resolution. So like we have to, it has to come to us anyway, but then this way the board's in the loop of what's going on. So the board must approve by resolution.
but don't we do
What
that
do you
already?
mean, after or before?
No, I think to do it, right? To do if we wanna get an RFP on something, I don't know, whatever it is, it will be by board resolution that we get the RFP. I don't think that we're doing that with everything now.
The board will appoint the attorney, physician, external auditor, and other professionals as applicable, so. It's as the board, the ones that we appoint. So we're responsible for internal, external auditors, we're responsible for physician, you know, attorney.
So maybe it should go down there, regardless of when during the professional year was engaged by the board, the annual board will appoint the attorney. Professional services, period, but that doesn't go there. I think it goes in the above.
Yeah, I'm still
But are you,
confused.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
are you suggesting before the RFP is issued? That is issued, it's approved via resolution before it's issued?
Yeah, you know how we did it with the reorg meeting, where we had everything by resolution, we're gonna go out for the council, by resolution, we're going out for the audit, by resolution, remember? How we did that, that's what I'm saying, so say you wanna go out for some sort of RFP, that it's just by resolution at a meeting, we're gonna go out by this and the board's gonna approve it, not everything's being approved. The board, not everything's by board resolution, because we had that during the year, I can't remember.
so I'm still kind of,
Mhm.
so if it's not positions that we don't appoint. But it's position, if it's RFPs that
No, we do eventually appoint them, that's my point.
but we don't have anything
For
that's
some
selecting
reason-
them, I
For
think.
some reason, maybe. Was it like the workers' comp?
I don't,
Provider, like we hired a consultant or something, remember something came up? And then it was after the fact,
Right, they were
we already
approved
went for
through
an
September.
RFP, right? But we went for an RFP, but the board didn't do it by resolution, so I'm just saying, I think the board should do all the RFPs by resolution.
But then if the policy dictates 3 to 5 years, so it said the board directs the assistant superintendent for finance and operations to take measures to ensure that a highly qualified professional is secured through the prudent and economical use of public money, which may include. So,
Where are you? I'm
On
sorry.
I'm in
the
the
top.
second
Oh,
paragraph,
the second paragraph.
right? Professional services. So if we're directed via this policy to every 3 years or 5 years or whatever it ends up being, then we are directed to go out or to issue an RFP.
So you're saying the director's already in there,
To me,
okay?
but I think it's important.
But this is about purchasing that do not require competitive bidding, I see what you're saying.
Mhm. So this is like the medical doctor, the ones that we're bringing at reorg, but they're already, the RFPs have already been done. We're just bringing their contracts back around.
So you don't wanna put that in there?
I'm still a little confused about why we need it, to be very honest.
You know,
I just think so that the board's in the loop of things.
I think maybe it's a matter of explaining to the board. These are RFPs that as a board that we go out for, that we're responsible for, that we need resolutions for. If there are other RFPs that they go out for. But it's part of the reorg meeting, then that way the board needs to understand that we don't see those RFPs, they go out. And they come back, so maybe that would be beneficial, that maybe we're,
Mhm.
if the board is made aware of which ones that don't require us to look at.
Yeah,
To look at the RFPs,
Mhm.
but
right,
we're not part of the interview process. We're just provided with the names of the individuals for that particular position. I think it's educating the board about that information, so therefore their understanding, instead of just saying, I rubber stamp this
Mhm.
person for that position, but to understand the process that has gone through. I think
Mhm.
that may be helpful in the journey. That's just my perspective on it. I don't.
Well, I think, right, we're probably saying the same thing.
Yeah, so I don't think.
That
we
the
need a
board
resolution.
understands
Yes.
what's happening, and they're not like, what is this? We already know ahead of time.
And there may be, we need to take a look to see if there are regulations. Because it says the superintendent is charged with developing administrative procedures, and there are some procedures for that.
So we probably have to just.
We probably need to review the procedures.
Yeah, so
I-
there's no reg to this.
Yeah,
So maybe that's a part of it. Maybe there needs to be a reg. I thought there was.
there is one. But
Oh, we just don't have it. I had one more thing I just wanted to add.
And I don't see that in here.
The third paragraph from the bottom, it says, let's see, the superintendent, will recommend a professional service provider best suited to the district, to the Board of Education for its. Oh, I guess that's repetitive, so I was gonna write that the ultimate decision remains with the board,
Mhm.
but it's for our approval anyway, so it
Yeah.
says it already, so we don't need to write that.
All right.
Okay, so do you want me to take off this, the board must approve the RFP
Yes.
resolution statement on?
So let's just go back,
Oh.
6741, number 4, that's gonna be added, published in district approved newspapers.
Mhm.
Under the whatever.
That paragraph under it, yeah.
Well, but not restrictly, then we're gonna put 3 and then.
Oh, no, you forgot one, Lisa. RFPs. Oh, no, we moved it, I'm sorry, okay, we
Yeah.
moved it, I apologize.
So instead of, we're gonna put 3, 5, and then we'll see what the board wants. This is where I may not be certain that services, issue professional service RFPs, just read what you have, Dr. Tatum, something again.
Service RFPs and addendums, comma, if applicable.
What happens to electronically and hard copies?
And then it's both electronically and hard
Both,
copy, that's
yeah.
all it said.
Both electronically and hard copy,
So which goes first? The addendum?
and addendums.
It says RFPs and addendums,
Okay.
comma, if applicable, comma, both electronically and hard copy.
Mhm.
And
And then are we then saying, comma, and may conduct interviews as part of the RFP process? It's kind of a one.
No.
Well,
Oh, I
we do
see.
do that, yes,
Okay.
we do.
I just, hold on.
Well, I think we should keep that in there, because we did just.
So maybe put a period at the end of, and a.
Hard copy.
Yeah,
The
and then
board,
just say-
and then just say the board may conduct.
right.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily the board. Right?
It may not always be the board.
Right. Because it may be workers' comp
Or it maybe say interviews may be conducted as part of the RFP process.
That's fine,
Yeah.
let's just do that, that's fine. That's better. Interviews may be
be.
conducted.
As part of the RFP process.
Mhm.
And then everything else is fine.
There's an asterisk at the end.
Yeah, I saw that,
I
yes.
think it's just redundant.
Yeah, let's take that out, why is it there?
All right, so now we're down to child abuse in educational
Oh,
setting.
wait a second, what did we just do? Oh, this is on.
Yeah.
wait.
Child abuse in education.
Oh, I had something on that.
I haven't looked at that, so I don't.
I had just a couple of questions. Because there was an issue with, being reported like timely, because it says promptly, but I don't think.
Where are you?
I'm
No,
looking at the first page on
9620.
the A, 9620.1. Do you see it? It says child abuse in
You on the-
educational setting.
Part 1,
Mhm.
okay.
You mean, you're looking at this one here?
Is this what you have?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So
Mhm.
just a couple of things, so. I'm wondering if we want to put. It should be really immediately, right, like once we should report it, so should we change the word immediately? These are my let me just tell you the recommendations, I'm not sure where it goes, so. My other thing is, cause I don't think we have it in here. The staff member will be removed from the classroom pending the investigation outcome. And will not have any interactions with students until a determination is made. So I don't think that's in there. I know that we do that, but I don't think it's in there. Cause I read it quickly before I came here.
And I didn't get a chance to read it, but we're missing parts here too.
Yeah, what are you missing?
Okay.
What are you missing? Oh, no, there's two, yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that in my old policy manual, maybe it's now removed, they have exhibits.
Oh, just doesn't have.
Oh, the forms.
Yeah, there's the forms.
This doesn't have it. What are the forms for? What are the forms?
I'll pull them out. I'm not too sure if they still use them, maybe they don't.
We do. We do.
Okay, I have one thing on the one that says 9620, not the regulation part, it's on
Mhm.
page 2. Okay, this is like what I keep getting stuck on, reporting
Yes.
requirements. Same day, they should complete the report to state ed department, same day. It was like same day to report it to the police, same day to report it to state ed.
But where are you?
I'm, where it says
Reporting
reporting requirements,
requirements. Promptly complete.
instead of promptly, I'm saying same day.
Well, let's say sometimes you may get wind of something at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock when school ends. Something may happen after
Right.
school, kids
No, I
leaving and
thought
be
of that,
dismissed.
I thought of that, so what if it's,
By the time it gets to us, clerical's gone,
yeah.
notary's
So
gone.
within 24 hours?
I mean, I think promptly is sufficient, it's just that, you know. Everyone had to be just sort of like reminded of the urgency of handling the matters.
I know, but that's why I wanted to like kind of protect it and put it in here, so they know, like, it is urgent, if it says 24 hours, like, that's urgent. Promptly is up for just, interpretation.
Not really, promptly means,
Well, I think promptly means promptly.
yeah, the required reporter shall promptly. That means sooner than later,
I know, but that doesn't.
complete the
Doesn't
required
happen.
stated report form. Personally delivered to the principal of the school in which the child abuse allegedly occurred.
Okay, so you wanna keep promptly and not change it?
I think there's a sense of what promptly means now, right? Urgent. Like,
Should we change it to
Drop everything
urgently?
and
Should we
take care of
change
it.
it to urgently or?
I think promptly is fine,
Yeah, fine.
I do,
Okay. So then.
because it's all throughout here. And I
Okay.
think this is the language that's taken right from the website. The principal shall also promptly
No, it's
provide
throughout
a
the whole
copy
thing.
of the written report to the superintendent, send a copy to law enforcement.
Okay, so these other two things, Lisa, we're just talking about promptly. Is there anybody on there?
I have no idea.
Or is
Anyone
it
want
two
water?
participants? Yes, I'll take one if you don't want to.
Anyone want water?
Two things that I wanted to put on there, that the staff member will be removed from the classroom and shall not have any interactions with students pending the investigation outcome. We already do it. But I think it has to be reflected in the policy. And then the other thing that's not in here is founded allegations will result in termination.
But I don't think we can say that.
Why? It's founded if somebody's child abuse?
No, are we, put it in there, but legally, are we able to say that it definitely will be termination?
Can you ask,
Huh?
counsel that?
No, this doesn't have to
I
go
can
through,
add,
I think it has to go through like a 30, if they're 10 years, has to help those.
Oh, because it's your process.
Yes, yeah, so you.
May result in, how about may result in
mhm,
termination proceedings?
may result in, let's see. Where would that go? Because here's the rights of the employee and volunteers.
Where are you? On
Let's
that, are
see.
you on that regulation?
Nope, the policy, page 3, so to speak, no numbers, but page 3. Let's see, in the middle, rights of employees, any employee or volunteer against whom an allegation of child abuse has been made and against whom the district intends to take adverse action shall be entitled to receive a copy of the report and to respond to the allegations Such persons are entitled to seek disclosure of reports involving them under FOIA.
Right. So, but I do think it's appropriate to put in here that they will be removed from the classroom, we do it anyway.
Are we back to this one?
We're on the regular policy, yeah, the one that doesn't have the odd. And I think we should say that it may result in termination proceedings. May.
Okay, so let me just make the note,
Because,
okay,
because, right, I'm not sure if it needs a new header.
may result in termination. And the
Oh, wait a
other-
second, what about this, Dr. Talbot? Under the regulation,
Mhm,
what about under duties of superintendent?
mhm.
Maybe that's where it goes. Right, because that's up to you, to say. Person's gonna be removed from the classroom, and not have interaction with students. Pending the outcome of an investigation.
Mhm. I'm gonna make note, I just don't know, because this is talking about overall the reporting requirements. Not necessarily the consequences, even though there is a section that says penalties, right?
Hold on.
Willful failure, page 3. The bottom.
Yeah, but that's if that's, or just for it, that's it, or that's if it's not submitted.
Right, so this policy is all about reporting,
Right. Not
the
about
process.
But you know, we talked to legal about this, and this came up with legal, and legal's like, you don't have it in your policy, you would have to put it in your policy. We have that.
So let's just make notes on it and then. Let's make notes,
Okay,
and we're talking about,
may result in termination, and what was the, and pending
Founded
investigation.
applications may result in termination or termination proceedings, however you want to put that, termination or termination proceedings. And then the other one was. The staff member, upon out, however you want to word it, upon allegations, the staff member. Shall be removed from the classroom
Pending,
and shall not have any interaction with students pending the investigation outcome.
staff member will be removed, you're saying.
Yes, shall, I just said shall.
Shall be.
Pending the investigation outcome. Because John was like saying, like, you have to put it in these things. And then that other one about the founded allegation, I'm just not sure where that goes, where that would go.
Well, you already said that, may result in termination proceedings.
Right, I'm just saying, we just have to figure out where we wanna put that.
yeah, I'm just making a note, and I'll consult.
All right, so those two, we're done with that one.
Okay.
I think,
So-
I think this cell phone is gonna be, I thought the artificial, we gave that to legal.
We gave this to legal, so do we want, this is the one that went to legal, right? They marked, I didn't see that they marked it up though.
Mhm. Here's some information.
Oh, they did mark it up,
That's
there's very few
considered,
things
yeah.
they marked up.
One for you, one for.
They literally only crossed out one word.
Okay, so child abuse, I'm putting over here. Right?
Yes, you.
Okay, so this is just some information for us to consider as we look at the cell phone.
Are we doing cell phone first?
What, is that where we're going? Which one did you just make mention of?
Well,
Artificial?
I was
Artificial.
saying cell
Okay.
phone, but I have to tell you, I feel like it should be maybe a
We'll go back
discussion.
to cell phone.
I don't know if it should be a discussion with the board or not, I'll tell you why, I read, like I said, we only got this like 45 minutes before we got there, Lisa and I were saying, like, we were trying to go through all these. The thing with the cell phone, the problem that I think that we're gonna encounter is. They're saying, you know, you have to put it away and everything, a kid can't be suspended just for going on the internet. But a parent may reach the child through all these different areas, like through the parent square, through an email, through a call. Having been coming to meetings for a number of years now, the sentiment is people don't get back to them now. So like, we have to figure out a route. To really, like, how are we gonna combat that?
It's
Right.
just- Right,
That, to me, that's one of the biggest obstacles here. The second thing for cell phones is, you know, there is a caveat that if it violates the code of conduct, then you can implement your code of conduct, but our code of conduct is like really punitive. So I had said to that option, to take it out, but that was on page 5 of 7, I looked at that one option, I didn't love that.
Oh, Lord. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we have time for this tonight, but.
No, but I just want to let you know, so in 23, legal went through and did a red line of the code of conduct. And so most recently, they went back through it to do a red line of the code of conduct. And we just got this back maybe last week, 16th or 17th of May, to look at. I know this is different from others that were presented to us, but what is being recommended is that we incorporate the student and personal electronic device into either the code of conduct or the acceptable use policy, 5675 and code of conduct 3410. Which is on the front of this page at the very bottom. So this has been circulated to school districts from the Superintendent's Association. And just one of the highlights on the very first page. 1, 2, 3, 4. Principal and or general office phone numbers are published for parent guardian used annually in this calendar. Parent guardian messages can be delivered to students. Students are permitted to use a main office phone for the purpose of contacting a parent or guardian. That's just one example. And then it goes on to say the K through 5 are not permitted at all to have the devices in school. 6 through 12 are strongly encouraged to leave all the devices at home. And students in 6 through 12 feel the need to bring them to school. They must be stored in their school issued locker for the duration of the school day. So this is just one scenario of how it could be handled. And then of course, IEP and 504s are not
Right, that's
applicable.
gonna change. So have you been talking to other districts of what they're doing? Because some of them have it implemented already. Some
Already.
of them are doing it. So have you talked to anybody that's
Yes.
implemented?
Several school districts with a middle school, no phones are allowed at all. Some of them have the Yonder system, so we included, if you flip a little bit more, this is a sample of a school that's combined junior and senior high school that has the Yonder in store, and this is what they shared with their parents. It's a Q&A, so to speak. And so at the middle schools, for sure, it's easier to implement. And so there are Yonders where they get a pouch and they can take their pouch to their locker and store it. And at the end of the day, get their pouch and have it unlocked at the end of the day.
Are they, so with the Yonder, because I'm not familiar with this, are they allowed to carry it on them?
Yeah, well, no, they have to store it. If it's in a pouch, right? The pouch is then secured where they can't open it.
Right.
So they can take it and put it in their locker or whatever the storage methods are for the school. Some schools have these pouches where you can put it in. And then some store it in the locker. So if I'm a kid and I have an emergency, then I can bring my pouch and say, I have an emergency situation, my mom is in the hospital, I really want to talk to my family or something. So someone can unlock the pouch
Right.
under emergency situation and allow them to make the phone call under supervision,
So,
situations like that.
so my question is this, unfortunately, we live in a time where crazy things may happen within school. So in school districts where they have the Yonder pouch,
Mhm.
are the students allowed to carry that Yonder pouch with them, like within their backpacks? And
During the day.
during the day, so if an emergency situation occurs, then in the classroom, maybe there's an ability for them for it to be unlocked. Cause I think in my mind, that would be the biggest adjustment for the school district.
Mhm.
That if the child knows they have to put it into this pouch, but they have to keep the pouch secured on them in the backpack or whatever it may be. But if the emergency situation occurs in each classroom, there'll be an ability to unlock it So therefore, at least that kid will know, that parent will know.
They'll
that
feel
will
more
know
secure.
That
Mhm.
if something's happened, they can unlock it.
Right, so at this school,
Mhm.
the students close, secure their pouches and keep it on them
Okay.
throughout the day.
Mhm.
And when they leave school, they tap it and it unlocks and they can.
Well, what does
retrieve
that
it.
look like though? So if you have hundreds of students
You need lots of taps.
tapping at the end, I mean,
So I spoke with, I think it was Middletown High School when we were looking at them for our high school, and they said they just have tables set up. It's a faster process on the way out because it just requires that tap to unlock it. But on the way in, you have to make sure the students are putting their devices in, so they needed a little more staff at the entry.
what happens when they're being unlocked? Who takes the pouch?
The
You do?
student does, the student owns that pouch.
But guess what's gonna happen? The student's gonna forget the pouch, the student's gonna lose the pouch. I don't know that the pouch is the best
To come and go.
implementation of this policy. It costs a lot of money. You know, I thought Governor Hochul mentioned cubbies in one of her speeches.
You don't like to sit with a cubby?
Somebody else is gonna swipe
It's a
it.
safety, yeah.
So at our school, the elementary did not have any cell phones, you weren't allowed to bring a cell phone. At our middle school, they had to be in lockers, kids can't have. Kids can't have it at all during the day, at all, non-issue, it becomes a huge issue when it's high school. The pouches. I already envision what's gonna happen, I've got my pouch, now they have a cell phone for the day, I lost my pouch, well, they have a cell phone for the day. There has to be something else.
Why can't they leave the pouch there at the school?
Why can't the pouch be in like a clean garbage bin at the end of the day, you let it go and we keep it? Why are we giving it to them?
I don't see any reason it couldn't work like that.
So let me just tell you a quick.
This particular school,
Well,
they keep this
Well,
up.
let me just tell you what happened, I was away and I went to a comedy club or whatever, this famous comedy club. They made us lock our phones. I never saw it before, it was these pouches, I never saw it before, they did it, took more time putting it in.
Mhm.
I had it on me, and then at the end, they took it out. Now, I couldn't compromise it, not that I was trying, but you couldn't do it, but they collected it at the end. To allow the students to take it home is money out the door.
I think I think we're kind of all in agreement that should not go home. I think that if we're
We
gonna,
own it, we keep it.
yeah, that in the school day, which you mean there has to be more staff that will be available to
And
make
you
sure
probably have them in bins, you come through, grab your pouch, put it in,
that
and you go.
there'll be a
You
system
have to
that.
grab it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I think it's gonna
pouch
be one of those like growing pains, figure it out, but I absolutely don't think I do not think they should be going.
I think that it could, I think the biggest thing will just be the adjustment for parents. And
Yeah,
parents.
I mean,
think
there are
that
gonna
would
be people that feel strongly this shouldn't happen, there are gonna be some that strongly that it should, and the bottom line is it's not the law. And so,
And I think even for the, and I think it was last year or the year before, the number of fights that occur with the cell phones, and even now the fights that occur with the cell phones. How many fights will be eliminated? You know, before, not eliminated, because you can't record it, and I'll be quiet so I can get into my head.
Mhm.
I think about when I was in high school, that we wrote a note, oh, look at her clothes, look at her shoes, aren't they ugly, and you passed a note on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it, but now you take a picture. And then it goes all out, so.
and I think I'm very
We look at it
hopeful that the fights will stop too, because a lot of it is about videotaping.
Yeah.
Can I say something about this AI policy?
So,
Are we good with this or no?
Let's kind of hold off on the cell phone. Let's look at other schools, what they have in place, and then. 'Cause
We're really holding off.
Ouch. Mhm.
well, what we're gonna present it to a board like this.
I don't know, I mean,
We
it was 7 pages, I didn't read it.
So there are certain things that we have to address, like we have to
Yes.
address the storage,
Yes.
the options for parents, so what it is basically the second page. These are things that we must address.
Yes.
So can we?
In our policy.
Can we, Lisa, at the meeting, can you preemptively talk about it, that we discussed it? We were talking about the storage, we just have to, we're working through it right now.
Right, it
That
just
is
has
on
to be
top of
approved by
mind.
Yes.
August 1st.
On the are we good? Cause I wanted to say something about AI.
They are going to AI.
Council already looked at this and literally only had like one thing on page 2. I think if we take out the grayed out boxes, like, why can't we just pass this? Why can't we just put this up to the board? It's basically just, they know these AI tools, staff can use it with approval.
I I honestly, I'm okay pulling out, I really think that our role as a school district is for the teachers to determine what is the best way to utilize AI.
Right, and I think what it's saying is, like, you could responsibly use it, students can responsibly use it, as can staff. So are you guys okay with taking out the gray and, they struck on page 2, student, and they just added staff over here, like, these just two. That's really okay.
Right, so I'm fine with that, we'll clean them up.
Is that good?
Yep,
You good
so
with that?
we went through everything.
Well, no, the agenda one, do you have that? You said you made copies, can we just do that quickly? Do you know when the wellness policy is meeting?
Yeah. So we're saying remove the gray.
Yeah,
Yeah, just remove the grand, then I have to,
alright, so what is it with this policy that we're looking at?
so, I was just looking, trying to see where that number.
No, I printed it out,
Oh, you have,
I printed out the memo, yeah,
okay,
so I know what we're gonna discuss it, so I do have the memo.
okay.
Do you need to see it?
I'm just pulling it up right here on my phone. The question, okay, wait, board has the authority to consult the board of education, have the right to own the control agenda at school board meetings, okay. Board of Education has delegated the duty of preparing the agenda to each board meeting to strengthen the consultation. However, this duty. So it's just saying that the majority can
Yeah,
change this. Okay, so let's just like go through this real quick. The superintendent in consultation with the board president. Should we put the officers, because you guys do agenda setting with the officers? I mean, if they show up, they show up. Should we add that? Because that's a current practice. I don't see any reason why we can't.
I don't see a problem with it, I don't see a problem with it, and I'll take, even when I was not a board president, I think the biggest issue is that trying to get 2, 3 people times to
To coordinate.
coordinate.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, you could do it with all of you, but if you can't, if it works, if it works, if it doesn't, because you said some years, some of the officers didn't want to do stuff.
Yeah, and I think for some years, and in other years, people can always look at it going down the line, but in other years, it was just the board president that did it only. So, I think, but the superintendent constantly with the board president shall prepare the agenda for each board meeting. And if you want to say, the officers may be invited to prepare the agenda. Because I think it has to be a point where there's a final say. At least, and I feel that each board member has an opportunity to add something to the agenda, right? So no one's rights are being taken away by not being able to add something to the agenda. There has to be a point in time where there has to be, a cutoff. And that's just my perspective on it.
So, like, if we go through the first one, then how about the superintendent in consultation with the board president shall prepare the agenda for each board meeting according to the order of visible. Board officers may be invited to the agenda setting meetings. Is that
I'm okay with that, board officers
officers
may be
May
invited.
be
Yeah.
invited. May be invited. To agenda setting meetings.
Because I prefer that, because if the next person who's the president, if they don't want the board officers there,
Okay, so at least we have it, it's an
Right.
option. Items of business may be suggested by any board member, district employee, parent, student, or other member of the public, and must relate directly to district business. I have to tell you, I've submitted it as a community member and none of my stuff ever landed on an agenda. So we have this in here, but we don't go by it. The inclusion of items suggested by district employees, parents, students, or other members of the public shall be at the discretion of the superintendent, subject to the approval of the board president. I mean, it sounds nice, but it doesn't happen.
It does happen, so I've seen it happen in previous years, but I've seen it happen, for this year too. Not when I was not the board president. I've
But
seen-
just not when I was in the audience.
No, yeah, maybe, I'm not too sure if it was just with you, but I've seen other situations where people have brought things up and it didn't make it to the agenda. I've seen it times where things were brought up and it didn't make it to the agenda. So I think that I don't. Once again, there has to be a point where, in my opinion, it gets cut. Must admit, I'm at least.
Well, okay, well, wait, to go back to the second paragraph, what I did, like as president, is I would get the agenda. And then I would disseminate it to my board and say, do you have any additions, edits, omissions, anything? And I would share the agenda. Like that day when I came back, I'd say, here's the agenda, guys. Like, does anybody else have anything else they want added or whatever? So it would be. I think it would be helpful to say that the board, like it would be shared with the board. Not just the Friday before, but like. I'm just saying for the board to review it and say, oh, hey, can you add this or add that?
Because if we have the agenda review on a Thursday. Are you saying that once we get done with the agenda review, because what happens is there's changes on the agenda from the agenda review, right? So those changes that are made, that means they have to get, because if we have an agenda review at 9 o'clock in the morning, then the changes may be able to be made, but the agenda review is not until 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it becomes, so.
I know what you're saying, you don't want 1,000 revisions, but I think that's why. Like when I did it that day, so before all the packets got sent out and everything, we're like, here's the agenda, and then somebody would go, oh, you know what, can you just add this on there? So that's kind of how we did it, so that it didn't go through all these revisions and everything, and everybody was able to.
So I have a question for you. Has there been times that there were things that, I'll just use you as a board member, that you wanted on the agenda, but you felt like you did not have an opportunity to request for it to be on the agenda?
Maybe more in the beginning, I don't know, I think in the beginning I had asked for some stuff and didn't necessarily get on there.
Then I think maybe it's something, that maybe what we should do is then maybe to flip it, if a board member has something suggested for the agenda.
Well, I think it has to go down to 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth paragraph really talks about the other board members, right? So the agenda and any supporting materials will be distributed to board members 5 days in advance of the board meeting. So if we're getting it on Friday, right, that's what we've been consistently doing, so Friday, Monday, Tuesday, I think Friday's a normal time. Agenda will be, so Juan had brought this up, the agenda will be released in the news media, including local papers. Do we do that, Dr. Talbert? Is that like obsolete? Should we be taking that
Yeah,
out?
we should take it out.
Yeah, because once we post it on the website, I think that's,
Let's take that out.
I think the agenda will be released on board docs.
Will be published.
on-
Okay, so let's do,
yeah, we're gonna
uh,
take out available in the superintendent's office as well.
now,
Yeah,
here's the other thing. Oh, the agenda will be available, you wanna take that
so
out?
hold on, agenda will be released, will be published
Agenda will be published.
in board docs.
In the board docs, well, I think people,
On the
People that-
website via board doc.
but people don't know how to get there. Remember, we've had some people not know how to do it. So do we say the agenda will be published on the website under the Board of Education tab, board docs? Like, should we just spell it out for them? Cause like people can't find it.
So the only problem is this, is that if
What
we
do we-
say, if we say on the website, on the Board of Education, on the board docs, what happens when we move something?
So the agenda will be published.
On the
Under board docs on the website, under board docs. On the website. Now, here's the other thing. I don't think we're publishing it with enough notice. We're supposed to, we went to that training and a lot of districts put all their agendas up on Friday. We don't put ours up till the day before. I think we're supposed to do it 72 hours
72.
before. So we have to put that in here 72 hours before.
So-
Wait, how about the agenda will be published 72 hours prior to a meeting? 72 hours
Wait,
prior to
A regularly
a
scheduled. meeting.
regularly scheduled, yes, to a regularly.
So the agenda will be published on board docs, on the website. 72 hours for a regularly scheduled board meeting?
I have the
That
agenda
means- That means 72 hours would be Monday, Tuesday.
Friday, it should really go Friday.
The agenda will be published 72 hours prior to a regularly scheduled board meeting.
So what happens if,
in the board
what
docs.
happens when it goes home to us? And there's changes, and then it may be revisions would occur?
Well, why don't we put a caveat then? Subject to change,
Change.
subject to change, because if something comes up, what if an emergency comes up, you have to do an emergency.
But then
appointment?
here's the thing, the board is really seeing at the same time as the public,
Yeah.
and you may. You know. Catch
And-
something or see something or wanna say something prior to it
Why
being.
can't we, can we, is there a law that has to be 72?
It is.
Mhm. But wouldn't Monday be 72? Let me see,
48. So it'll be 24, 48, no, I don't think
it's
so.
48, like,
So, how about this?
Well,
I don't know, when is agenda setting, on Thursdays before meeting?
typically it's Thursday.
or it's been Wednesday or Thursday, whenever everybody's scheduled.
Is it
yeah.
possible to just flip what you have? Just as like going forward, saying this is gonna be published on the website tomorrow, anybody have anything, like, or maybe there's a mistake on there, right, cause that's happened once or twice. Guys do this and then you catch it before it's going up on the Friday, because the Friday doesn't say what time you have to put it up. I mean, before end of business, but you catch it in the morning, you do it in the morning, the afternoon, you put it up. I do think we have to stick to 72 hours.
But that,
We have to comply with the law.
then that would mean. That if the agenda, and the board has to understand this portion. Let's just say hypothetically, if let's say we do agenda review on a Thursday,
Yeah.
alright? If it's just the draft agenda, and no backup, if that's provided to the board to take a look at the draft agenda, but no backup, because sometimes all the backup is not there, it may not be available to.
Oh,
Friday.
you're saying like watermark a draft agenda.
Just for the board, just
Mhm.
say, this is just the current draft agenda, there's no backup. Is anything, because when we, my question is this, when you post it on Friday. Are you posting it with all the backup as well, or are you just posting the agenda?
No, I think-
So in 72 hours for the public, do you just have to post the agenda? Do you have to post the agenda with all the backup?
We
Well,
didn't,
you're supposed to have
the
the backup.
backup, yeah, you're supposed to do it all. So, then it takes us to make that adjustment, to do the draft, to do it the day before, because we have to be, we have to be. We can't get around the law is the law,
No,
but we have to figure out how to make it work so that we can edit if need
consistent.
be. But at the end of this too, when you said 72 hours, what? But at the end of this sentence, can we do and subject to change? Cause I think we have that on the actual agendas too. Subject to change, don't we have that on the top of,
We should if we don't, a disclaimer.
yeah. And our subject,
But I just keep thinking about like, how many times have we? How many times have we? Well, there.
We do not get up. I mean, that's why we need it like this before, and that's why I'm just kind of saying that we have to be very, very, very careful about this. I know, but we do have to come by. We just.
So do that be Friday or Sunday? I think any other clerk would rather Friday.
I think the draft is gonna have to go on Thursday. But by the way, I think it has to be like at the next board meeting, I think that we should say this though, be like, you know, we're looking to adopt this policy, but just know. There's gonna be a draft that you guys are gonna have to look at, because once it's published, like, it's 7 people's responsibility to make sure.
So let's speak logistically. If this goes home Thursday, are we saying Thursday electronic?
No, wait, Dr. Talbot, you're just saying the agenda, I'm just saying the agenda to the board for review, I'm not saying, well, the backup. I'm saying the backup and the agenda, the regular agenda and backup that's going on the website will go home to everybody on Friday. What I'm saying is, say you and Lisa do the agenda setting, on Thursday, you say to the board, and we have a conversation, so everybody knows, it's going home to you on Thursday. You have until noon on Friday.
5 minutes.
You have until noon on Friday, if you have any edits or whatever, I mean,
Do you have any questions, anything like that?
we have to do,
I think,
we have to be responsive too.
I think also what's been, and we haven't done it, but probably what will be beneficial is that when we do the agenda review, that when it goes home, we can say, these are the questions that we asked on the following items, and this is what it means. So this is the meaning behind it, so therefore, when you get the agenda, because what happens in the agenda review, there are questions that typically come up and explanations that occur. But what's not happening to the entire board is that information is not going to the entire board.
So you're saying if you preemptively just let us know, this is tied to this, this is tied to that.
Right,
Okay.
right, so therefore people know ahead of time that when you're looking at it, if there's any additional questions, then that's fine, but this is what this relates to.
Okay, 2 other things that I think should, oh wait, the superintendent.
Wait a second, I'm still,
sorry.
I'm still kind of, I'm still like, can we just
Still
kind of,
processing.
can we just circle back? So we're circling back to, the agenda along with the backup documents has to be uploaded 72 hours in
Right.
advance.
By law.
So where are we putting that in here? Published on board docs on the
I
website?
was putting it this second to last paragraph, I took out the last 2 sentences, I struck that, and then I added that sentence. So I took out, the agenda will be released to the news media, those 2 sentences I took out. And then I wrote, the agenda will be published under board docs on the website 72 hours prior to a regularly scheduled board meeting. And is subject to change. Because it gives you that little out.
So wait.
Yeah.
So are we saying subject to change of the agenda or subject to change of the posting?
No, of the agenda, and the agenda is subject, no, because we're saying it's about the agenda. Subject to change. Because that might happen, there might be
Mhm.
times it might happen.
Now, if we're saying 72 hours prior to a regularly scheduled board meeting, isn't it 24 hours before an emergency meeting or
Yeah,
special meeting?
yeah, do you want me to look it up quick, because you know what, I was thinking that, Dr. Talbot, we should do that for there. We should also talk about, like, any member of the board could call a special meeting or whatever, special meeting, emergency meeting within 24 hours notice. I was thinking like we should put these things in here. Right?
But that's
No, it's-
agenda
no, that's
preparation
agenda.
It's agenda, yes.
Oh, this is just
Yes,
agenda.
yeah.
and dissemination.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
let me look up all the meetings.
Oh, well, so now we're also looking to add on here that the agenda will be posted within 20, or a special meeting within
I don't
20.
think that's the right email.
I'm gonna try and see if I can find it. All right.
So we're saying
And
72
so,
hours.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we
Mhm.
wrap this up?
Yes.
I can-
Okay.
Oh, wait, but we have to put that one thing that we
I
got
know.
today. We have to add that,
What one thing?
where John sent the memo, and then we're just gonna put that in here to
For what?
update it.
For what?
Do you have to have, can I look at it quick? Let me see if I can just. If there's like one sentence we could add.
So agenda will be published under board docs on the website 72 hours prior to regular scheduled board meeting and subject to change.
Yeah, but we have to look at,
Or
wait,
it-
Mary, do you have your laptop?
I do.
Can you look up under New York State open government, open meetings law for New York State for special meetings or emergency meetings notice? I think it is 24 hours.
So for a special meeting. We generally post it 24 hours in advance.
Oh, okay, so here, this is what the sentence I think that we should add. The proposed agenda may be amended by a resolution passed by a majority vote of the Board of Education, either on the day of the meeting or prior to the date of the meeting. Hey, Lisa, can I highlight this for you?
Yes.
Okay. And then maybe we should dock this one.
I'm using the second page back.
Oh, and maybe put it after this, oh no, maybe do their own paragraph to that. Wait, hold on. Discussion.
I also think that if we're gonna add this,
Yeah,
then there has to be some type of language. That the resolution needs to be provided to the Board of Education, to the entire Board of Education. Because all resolutions that we receive. It's provided to us. Either if it's something personal, it's provided to us in executive session. And then it's at least read so people know what that resolution is gonna be. So if this is gonna be something that we're gonna be put in place, then I believe that we need to add in the language that says. That the resolution needs to be provided to the Board of Education. Cause it has a proposed agenda may be amended by a resolution.
but that's, Robert's rule doesn't say you have to do that. Robert's
Yes,
rule
Robert.
doesn't call for that.
It may not call for that, but I just think out of courtesy, that if we are. Gonna change the agenda to add a resolution by a majority of the vote, right? Either on the day of the meeting or prior to the day of the meeting, I'm just saying by the day of the meeting. There should be, the resolution should be provided to the entire board.
I'm just gonna disagree with you because that's not what Robert's rules calls for. And we have a policy that that we are run by Robert's rules. So if we're going by Robert's rules, then why would we adjust Robert's rules?
But it says under Rob rules of order, the proposed agenda provided in advance is not binding on the organization. Rob rules. I think I would like to put it down and just move, I want to find out from legal if that's something that we can add.
Well, I think that you can probably restrict it more if you wanted to.
I think we should ask that the resolution needs to be provided to the entire board for review. Even if it's on the day of the meeting, because on the day of the meeting, there are times we get resolutions on the day of the meeting. So each board member should be able to see what that resolution is that they're going to be asked to vote on.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with that, but I hear what you're saying.
So can we add that in
I mean,
and ask legal to review it?
I'm not in agreement with that.
Yeah, but we still can ask legal to review it, and then
You can ask.
if legal says. Yes, it can be put in that way, then it's up to the board to make a decision whether or not they wanna.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're putting the language in, and then that way the board can make the decision.
So what do you wanna put in here that the
The
resolutions
Must be provided to the board, at
will
least,
be provided. Be provided to the board. But you know what, okay, hold on, I'm just thinking this out. I know that I've put a motion that I didn't even have prepared, just based on what's happening at a meeting. I don't have a resolution prepared, that's happened a couple of times already, I just say I make a motion for whatever. So, that's why I don't think you could do that, because there are gonna be times when it just doesn't happen.
But there are times when there are things that were done ahead of time, so if someone has something ahead of time, then the resolution needs to be provided to the entire board. There are times when it's been written right there on the spot. And that's a different story, but there are times when it's been ahead of
Well,
time.
then we have to be careful of this language, because if known resolutions. I mean, I don't know how you wanna say that. Because like I said, I wouldn't wanna box myself out from doing something that I feel that is necessary on the spot. That's why I think it's too,
I think
Right.
and I'll play with the word, but I think something to language to the fact that, a resolution, just let me tell you, a resolution, needs to be provided to the entire board if possible. By the day of the board meeting or before the board meeting, I'm trying to kind of talk it out.
how about this, how about
Something-
when possible, comma.
The resolution needs to be disseminated.
Resolutions should be shared. Should be shared with the board prior. Should be shared. Because shared with board prior to meeting, or board prior to meeting, because. If they have it, they can do it in executive session, they can do whatever, they can fix it out.
Right, and I think, I just look at it this way, that, I feel as if there were resolutions that were brought forward. That were already decided upon, that I had something written up ahead of time, and I come into the meeting and I read this resolution. And the rest of the board has no idea behind it whatsoever, to me, I feel like that's not working collectively as a board. So by having, if something is written up ahead of time, even if it's on paper, and if it's in executive session, then at least share it with the entire board, so therefore, when we go out that way, the board is not blindsided about a resolution that comes up, and I think to me that's what's most important for me, is that at least we're aware of it. And I think that if it was a situation that if I wrote something up and you sat down and you didn't see it ahead of time, you may be like, whoa, like, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you bring it up to let me know? That's my point behind it.
Did you find that, Mary?
I did. So if the meeting is scheduled at least a week in advance, not less than 72 hours prior to the meeting. When a meeting is scheduled less than a week in advance, notice must be given to the public. To the extent practicable
Right.
at a reasonable time prior to the meeting.
Extent practical, what was the other part?
At a
Reasonable
reasonable time
time.
prior to the meeting.
So I did write in to add, just what you said. For meetings scheduled at least 1 week in advance, the notice must be posted at least 72 hours before the meeting. For other meetings encompassing other, right? The notice must be posted at a reasonable time before the meeting.
But this is a notice, that's not connected to the agenda,
The notice must be posted.
but that's not connected to the agenda.
Well, why can't we say
Agenda.
special and emergency meeting agendas will be posted?
Okay,
But my question is the notice has to be posted or the agenda has to be posted? So the notice has to be posted, I don't think the agenda has to be posted,
Notice.
the notice should be
the
posted.
notice,
Not the agenda. It's
the notice.
Yeah, so, and I'm just looking at this, I think 72 hours.
Oh, that's why you're debating like the
Yeah.
72 hours.
Right,
But I do have to tell you, at that new board thing, people do it all on Fridays.
right, and I think,
Notice.
I think what we.
Why don't we ask John this
But I
question?
think. I remember that, and that we always had it up at least by Monday afternoon, you know what I mean, so it's at least 48 hours in advance.
It's the notice.
Yeah,
For
it's
open
no,
meetings
Does it
law.
say anything about agenda? Can you,
I think we should,
Mary found something.
I think we should go to 48 hours.
Mary, what did you find?
This is like a summary, so I would wanna look at the original source, but it says a special meeting agenda must be provided to the public at least 24 hours
Right.
before the meeting if practicable. And any document scheduled for discussion should also be made available at least 24 hours
Yeah,
in advance if possible.
That's what we said unless we had a waiver, right? Okay, what
Right.
about regular meetings? Is it the same thing?
I don't see that.
I think we should put it for 48 hours, because it gives us more time as a board to look at the agendas, look at the backup. And then by 48 hours prior, like at 5 o'clock on Monday, it has to be posted up.
The
Can
agenda.
we
the agenda.
run that by John though?
Yeah, I'm
Can
fine.
we just ask him, because if it's not required 72 hours, okay,
It's the notice,
It's a notice.
but can you
the
just
notice.
ask him that too?
Yeah, we
about
can
the
ask him.
agenda?
but yes,
Okay, so let's change it to 48
48
hours,
Yeah,
and then pending like John just letting us know.
right. 'Cause
the
I think-
agenda will be published under board docs on the website, 48 hours.
Cause that's something
Prior
that,
to.
that I do, because it allows a
Okay.
committee member to look at the agenda, it allows them to look at any backup documents. It gives them Monday night and Tuesday night to look at the information prior to coming to the meeting on Wednesday, so I think it gives them at least one full day, actually 2 full days, if they have to work, then it gets, so I think.
Can I mention one other thing? I know that this has come up, throughout my year here. That, the Zoom link, you know how you have announcements and it has the posting? I mean, it's on posting, but is there a way just to put some sort of button or something to add syntax, just to have them put like Zoom links on the days of meetings, just to say Zoom link for meeting tonight or something?
Meeting Zoom link under announcements.
Because some people are having a tough time finding that. I know one person said it, but I think in the past too, somebody was like, they went in and you had, because it wasn't always, was it always on the special announcement? Maybe prior to you, it wasn't on special announcement.
I think the other part too we could work towards is that, having. If syntax for the, at least once the agenda is posted, a link that will take them directly to board docs. So.
Okay, so after June, no more syntax on the website.
Yeah, let's get what we can out of them right now.
Okay. Right. So the last thing,
I like.
the last thing I have is to add the meeting Zoom link under announcements on the website.
Just like a standalone, Zoom link for tonight's meeting.
Is that what you're saying as well?
Are you okay with that, Lisa? Just
On
like a
the opening
standalone,
page.
like.
Yeah, but that, we're not putting that in the policy.
No,
this
that's
is
just me.
This is
It's
just an aside.
Yeah,
We'll have a notice up and it will be in the notice as it always is, but maybe just a separate announcement. The Zoom link for tonight's meeting, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting better, we're
I
getting
enjoyed my
better.
time, but I'm going home.
But
okay. Gotta go?
Dr. Calvin, your list, I need to send it to the,
Yeah.
let's make sure that I.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? I'll
Yes, we
send Eileen
will.
a text right now.
Okay.
Eileen, can you please?
Just send it by email. Oh, and if she has the Word doc, even better. It says, oh, do you wanna close the meeting, Lisa? So we
I
should.
make a motion to close the meeting at 7:42.
Yes.